Alright, settle in folks. We're diving headfirst into the kind of stories that make you double-check your locks at night. I'm Find Me. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the world is a whole lot weirder than most people give it credit for. Are you ready to question everything? Good, because the rabbit hole is deep, and we're going in. Let's kick things off with a classic Flight 19. December 5th, 1945. 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers take off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida for a routine training mission. 14 experienced airmen, just a quick hop over the Atlantic, a little navigational practice, and back in time for dinner. Except, dinner never happened for these guys. Somewhere over the Bermuda Triangle, things went sideways. The flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, reported his compasses were shot and he was disoriented. Radio communications became increasingly garbled. They thought they were over the Florida Keys, but ground control was sure they were way off course. Then, silence. Vanished. No distress calls, no wreckage, nothing. The Navy launched a massive search. One of the search planes, a PBM Mariner flying boat with a crew of 13, also disappeared. No trace. The official Navy report concluded the loss was for causes or reasons unknown. One investigator famously wrote it was as if they had flown to Mars. Over 75 years later, with all our fancy sonar and satellite tech, we still haven't found a single piece of wreckage from Flight 19 or its would-be rescuer. So, what happened? Rogue wave, sudden storm, alien abduction? Your guess is as good as mine. Let's jet over to the icy Ural Mountains in Russia, February 1959. 9 experienced ski hikers set out on an expedition to a mountain named Autorten. When they didn't return, search parties discovered their tent heavily damaged, sliced open from the inside. Footprints showed they fled, some barefoot, despite temperatures around -25 to -30 degrees Celsius. The first few bodies were found near a tree line, dead of hypothermia. Months later, the remaining 4 hikers were discovered in a ravine with major injuries. 1 had major skull damage, 2 had severe chest fractures, and 1 woman was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Some of their clothing was found to be radioactive. Theories abound: avalanche, attack, secret military testing, or even a Yeti. The official Soviet investigation concluded they died from a compelling natural force. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains a chilling, unsolved enigma. Let's hop over to Belgium for a story that had thousands looking to the skies. Between late 1989 and early 1990, a wave of UFO sightings swept the country. Massive, silent, black triangular craft with bright lights were seen by everyday citizens, police officers, and military personnel. The most famous incidents occurred on the night of March 30, 1990. Multiple police patrols and hundreds of civilians reported seeing these triangles. The objects were tracked on radar, and the Belgian Air Force scrambled 2 F-16 fighter jets to intercept. The pilots reported locking onto the targets with their radar, only for the objects to perform evasive maneuvers that were impossible for any known aircraft. The objects would play cat and mouse, then simply vanish from radar and sight. The Belgian military was remarkably open, holding press conferences and releasing radar tapes. Some skeptics suggested advanced, secret military aircraft, but the reported flight characteristics didn't match up with known technology. Others leaned towards extraterrestrial visitors. The sheer number of credible witnesses and the official military involvement make this one of the most compelling UFO cases on record. Whatever those triangles were, they certainly weren't weather balloons. Now for a story that's deeply personal and profoundly baffling, the disappearance of Maura Murray. On February 9, 2004, Maura, a 21-year-old nursing student, packed her car, emailed her professors about a family emergency, withdrew $280, and started driving north. Later that evening, she crashed her Saturn sedan into a snowbank on a rural road in Haverhill, New Hampshire. A local school bus driver, Butch Atwood, saw the accident and offered help, but Maura declined, saying she'd already called AAA. Atwood called the police anyway. By the time the first officer arrived, Maura was gone. The car was locked, her cell phone and credit cards were missing, but most of her belongings were still inside. Extensive searches turned up nothing. The case is riddled with strange details. Why did she lie about a family emergency? What was in the box of wine found in her car? Why did she pack up her dorm room belongings before leaving? The FBI has assisted, and countless internet sleuths have pored over every detail, but Maura Murray's disappearance remains one of the most haunting and perplexing missing person cases in modern history. Let's turn our gaze upwards to the cosmos. On August 15, 1977, astronomer Jerry Amon was working with Ohio State University's Big Ear Radio Telescope, part of the SETI project. Amidst the usual background noise of the universe, there was a powerful, narrow-band radio signal that lasted for 72 seconds. It came from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, near a star group called Chi Sagittarii. The signal was so striking that Amon circled it on the printout and wrote "Wow" in the margin. Despite numerous attempts to redetect the signal, it has never been heard again. Was it a genuine transmission from an intelligent alien civilization, a cosmic shout into the void, or some incredibly rare natural phenomenon? Skeptics have proposed various terrestrial explanations, but none have fully fit all the characteristics of the "wow" signal. For 72 seconds, something out there made us say "wow," and we're still wondering who or what it was. This next one takes us into territory that makes even the most hardened skeptics pause. Reincarnation. Meet the Pollock family from Hexham, England. In May 1957, their two young daughters, Joanna and Jacqueline, were tragically killed in a car accident. About a year later, Florence became pregnant again and gave birth to twin girls, Jillian and Jennifer. As the twins grew, they began to exhibit behaviors and make statements reminiscent of their deceased older sisters. Jennifer had birthmarks in the exact same locations as scars Jacqueline had. The twins started asking for toys that had belonged to Joanna and Jacqueline, toys they had no way of knowing about. They also seemed to recognize places they'd never been to but that Joanna and Jacqueline had frequented. Most chillingly, the twins sometimes seemed to relive the accident, exhibiting a phobia of cars and describing details of the accident. Was it grief-fueled imagination, subtle cues from the parents, or something far more profound? Picture this. It's a sunny day, May 23, 1964. Jim Templeton, a firefighter from Carlisle, England, is out for a day trip with his wife and 5-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, at Burgh Marsh. Jim's an amateur photographer, so he's snapping pictures of Elizabeth posing in her new dress with a bouquet of flowers. When the photos were developed, one particular photograph of Elizabeth had a figure dressed in what looks like a white, bulky suit, complete with a helmet, looming behind her. Jim was adamant. He and his wife were the only other people on the marsh that day. Kodak analyzed the negative and concluded that it had not been tampered with. The image was genuinely on the negative. The story hit the local papers, then the nationals, and the Solway Firth Spaceman became a sensation. Theories flew. Was it an extraterrestrial visitor, a prankster in a suit, or Jim's wife overexposed by the bright sunlight? Jim always maintained his wife was well off to the side when he took that specific shot. Adding another layer of weirdness, Jim later claimed he was visited by two men in dark suits, men in black style, who asked him odd questions about the photo. Creepy, right? Now let's delve into something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, Project Stargate. This was a secret U.S. Army unit established in the 1970s at Fort Meade, Maryland, with a rather unusual mission: to investigate the potential military and intelligence applications of psychic phenomena. The primary focus of Project Stargate was remote viewing, the alleged ability to psychically perceive distant or unseen targets using extrasensory perception, ESP. Participants would be given coordinates or a cue about a target and try to describe it using only their minds. The program ran for over 2 decades, funded by millions of taxpayer dollars. According to some declassified reports, remote viewers supposedly provided surprisingly accurate information. They claimed to have located downed Soviet bombers, described secret military installations, and even viewed hostages. The program, which operated under various code names, was officially terminated in 1995. The CIA concluded it had never provided any actionable intelligence of value. But did it? Or is that just the official story? The very fact that the US government poured so much time and money into researching psychic spies is fascinating in itself. Let's switch gears to a mystery born in the digital age, Cicada 3301. Starting in January 2012, a series of incredibly complex puzzles appeared online, posted anonymously on sites like 4chan and Reddit. The first message was simple. Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. The puzzles were a mind-bending amalgamation of cryptography, steganography, number theory, philosophy, classical literature, Mayan numerology, and even physical clues hidden in various cities around the world. Participants had to decode messages hidden in images of cicadas, follow trails of digital breadcrumbs, delve into obscure texts, and even answer phone calls from mysterious numbers. Thousands of people from around the globe collaborated online trying to crack the codes. Only a very small handful reportedly made it to the end of each year's puzzle sequence. Those who claimed to have solved it said they were led to a private forum on the dark web, where they were given further instructions or tasks, and then silence. The creators of Cicada 3301 have remained completely anonymous. The big question is, who is behind Cicada 3301, and what is their purpose? Theories range from a recruitment tool for intelligence agencies to a secret society of hackers or cryptographers, or even something more esoteric. The true nature and goal of Cicada 3301 remain one of the internet's most compelling enigmas. For our final mystery, we plunge into the depths of the Pacific Ocean. In the summer of 1997, scientists at NOAA picked up something unusual, a very, very loud sound. This wasn't just any underwater noise, it was an ultra-low frequency, extremely powerful upsweep sound that lasted for about a minute. They nicknamed it the Bloop. The Bloop was detected by multiple sensors spread across thousands of miles of ocean. For something to be that loud and travel that far, it had to be immense. The origin of the Bloop was triangulated to a remote point in the South Pacific, not far from the hypothesized location of H.P. Lovecraft's fictional sunken city of R'lyeh. For years, the source of the Bloop remained a complete mystery. Scientists speculated it could be a giant squid, a previously undiscovered colossal marine animal, or some unknown geological event. Initially, NOAA stated that the sound profile did resemble that of a living creature, but one far larger than anything we know exists. In more recent years, NOAA has leaned towards the explanation that the Bloop was likely the sound of a large iceberg calving or scraping the ocean floor. While perhaps less exciting than a kraken, the sheer power of such an ice event is still mind-blowing, but some still wonder, could there be something else down there, something truly colossal, that made that sound? The deep ocean is still largely unexplored after all. Well, there you have it. 10 journeys into the unexplained, 10 reasons to maybe sleep with one eye open. From planes that flew off the map to signals from the stars, and hikers meeting fates too strange for fiction, it's clear our world still holds plenty of secrets. Each of these stories is a puzzle with missing pieces, a question mark hanging heavy in the air, daring us to find an answer that might never come. Which one freaked you out the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more mind-bending mysteries, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Or I might vanish like Flight 19. This is Find Me, where reality gets weird.